Hello everybody, my name is Suman Dua. I'm a registered migration agent based in Brisbane, Australia. In this video today, I would like to thank you all for subscribing to our channel and also leaving comments on our videos. In the last few days, we've received more than 500 comments and I've tried my best to reply to most of them. In this video today, I would like to answer some of the most common questions that I have received in the comments, and it's also my way of saying thank you to you all. So I've actually shortlisted some comments that I have received, and I can see that I've received these comments over and over again. So I have put it on here. So the first question I've got from Rana Cameron. He's saying, is there any chance for offshore candidates to apply for 190 or 491 in any state? So Rana, unfortunately at the moment none of the states are inviting applicants from overseas. This is due to the pandemic as well, and also because the federal budget has been delayed and the federal budget won't be announced until 6th of October. So around October we will get an idea about the migration program, that how many applicants they are thinking of inviting under the skilled migration program, and also what occupations they want the states to invite. So there is a possibility that they may invite overseas applicants who fall under the critical sector, or there is also a possibility that they may not invite any overseas applicants until the next financial year. So we will have to wait until October to get some more idea about this. The next question I've got is, once I get 491 visa granted, Queensland state, can I move to other state regional area, example Adelaide, Perth, in the very first month, or I must be living in Queensland regional areas only? So the answer to that one is that the Department of Home Affairs does not have any problem which regional area you move to, as long as you're living in the designated regional area while you're the holder of the 491 visa. However, because Queensland state would have invited you for the 491 visa and they would have asked you to sign on a commitment statement and also write a commitment statement why you want to live in Queensland and why you think that you should get the state nomination. So in the past, I have had a chat with Queensland state nomination team regarding this very same question, and they actually do not want their applicants to leave Queensland if they have been invited for 190 or 491 visa through them. So my suggestion to you would be that stay in Queensland for 3 years if you've got the 491 visa through Queensland. So the next question I have is, should I do my diploma of nursing from Australia? If so, from which state, New South Wales or Queensland? I am planning for next July intake. Would I get PR if I work as an enrolled nurse in Australia in future? So I'm actually going to answer this question in two parts. First of all is that the Diploma of Nursing, where the occupation outcome is enrolled nurse, is on the STSOL list. So whenever that happens, what it means is that the students who study a diploma of course which is on the STSOL list, they do not qualify for the TR visa, which is 485 visa, which is granted to the international graduates of Australia. So you will miss out on the 485 visa. And 485 visa is actually a bridging visa between your study visa and your permanent residency. So I do not recommend any courses that do not give you a 485 visa. So what you can do is, maybe you can do a diploma of nursing as long as it does have a package with a bachelor's of nursing as well, because with that your occupation, which is registered nurse, is on the MLTSSL list, and because you would have done a bachelor's in Australia, you will also qualify for a 485 visa. Now, other thing to note here is that if you plan to study your bachelor's degree in a regional area of Australia, depending on which regional area you choose, you may get a 485 visa for a 1 year or 2 years extra. Usually it's 2 years, but you will get it either for 3 years or 4 years. So that's also something you should consider. And then you've also asked me about which state to choose. So if your occupation outcome is registered nurse, I think registered nurse at the moment is open in almost all states. But if you would ask my recommendation, I would be a little bit more inclined to New South Wales. So I would recommend, if you have to pick one out of these two states, I would go with New South Wales, only because New South Wales always have more quota when it comes to the skilled migration, and also, you know, the job opportunities are also more in New South Wales compared to Queensland. Okay, another question I've got from Ashwin Kaur. What if I don't study in regional area in Australia? Will this affect my PR process or not? If you are somebody who has already started your studies in Australia, as you know, to get the regional points, regional study points, you have to study in a regional area for 2 years. So if you are somebody who's already started it, and maybe you would have done one semester and you've got 1.5 years left, or maybe a year left, there's no point changing to a regional area now. I would say just, you know, continue your study wherever you are. But yes, you won't get those extra 5 points for regional study, and you may also miss out on getting the 485 visa for that extra 1 year or 2 years if you've studied in a regional area. Your question, will this affect my PR process or not? I would say not exactly, as long as before you finish, you take migration advice from a registered migration agent who can actually plan your PR pathway and tell you exactly what you need to do. So you have to be a little bit proactive so that you can make the most of your 2 years of your 485 visa. The next question I've got is from Asad. He's asking, is it necessary for nominator to be an Australian citizen, or it can be from our own country, such as our research supervisor in our home country? So Asad, the requirement for a nominator is that the nominator has to be an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, a New Zealand citizen, eligible New Zealand citizen, or an Australian organization. So it could be one of those. So somebody who is in your country may not meet this requirement. But if you are in the IT field, you may want to approach ACS, which is Australian Computer Society, because they do have a separate application process for them to become your nominator. So see if you qualify for that. There is some information on their website about this. So the next question I have is from Ganesh Kumar. He's asking, is studying social work in Victoria a good option while compared to other states? Yeah, Ganesh, I think social work is actually a very good qualification. Social worker occupation is mostly available in most states. So last time when Victoria was open, however, they wanted 2 years work experience for a social worker, but for 491 visa, they only wanted 1 year work experience. So yeah, I would maybe think that other states may have better options. Maybe if you want to get in touch with us and we can look at other options for you, or you may want to wait until October when the new list will be announced and the states will be organizing their occupation list as well. So I think that will be the best time to make a decision if you're in the right state or not for your occupation. Okay, the next question I have is from Atira. She's asking, my husband is working as a biomedical engineer in UAE. We are planning to lodge for PR this month. Can you tell us, is it good time to lodge one? As per our calculations, he is getting 80 points. So Atira, biomedical engineer is on the MLTSSL list. So your occupation is available for subclass 189. If you've got 80 points, yes, go ahead and lodge your EOI. You are eligible to lodge the EOI. But I'm not sure if you will be able to get an invite this financial year given the current situation, because department is only inviting applicants who are in Australia and who are working in the critical sector. And also I believe 80 points is a bit low to get invited for a 189 visa. So last time when things were normal, which means before the pandemic, the invites that the applicants were getting for this occupation was above 85. So you may also want to work on increasing your points and use this time to maybe work on your English, maybe increase your employment points, or if you can also do NATI and things like that to boost up the points. So by the time they start inviting applicants who are currently offshore, you are sitting on higher points. The next question I have is from Beena. I have already lodged my EOI for subclass 189 on June 1st, 2020. Now can I submit EOI for subclass 491? So Beena, it's not very straightforward to answer to this question, because for 491, you will have to either meet the state's requirement, or you will need to have a family who's like an eligible relative of yours who can sponsor you for the 491 visa. So I'm also not sure if you're currently in Australia or outside Australia, but and I'm also not sure how many points you have, but the reason I've picked this question is so that you understand that for 491 you will have to meet extra requirements. For example, with 189 you don't have to meet any extra requirements because the invites are sent by the Department of Home Affairs and they pick up the highest ranking EOIs. But for 491 it's a little bit different. So states have their own requirements. They may want a job offer letter from you or a commitment of already living and working in their state and things like that before they invite you. But yeah, so at the moment states are not inviting applicants from overseas, but if you are in Australia, then you may want to look at the requirements of your own state to see if you qualify for the 491 visa. Okay, next question I have is from Amir. I lodged 190 visa in August 20 for New South Wales offshore with 90 points. Is there any chance to receive the invitation as offshore candidate? ANZSCO 261313 software engineer. So Amir, first of all, I would like to tell you that your occupation was under the PMSOL list, which is the Priority Migration Skilled Occupation list, which was announced for the employer-sponsored visas. But the fact that your occupation was in that list, even though it's for employer-sponsored, it does fall under critical sector. And if they ever open invites for the offshore applicants, your occupation falls under the critical sector and you will be given priority. But at the moment, they are not inviting any applicants from overseas. Okay, the next question I have is, I have done my bachelor's in accounting and then cookery certificate 4. Can I claim points for both bachelor as well as trade qualification? I have done certificate 4 in commercial cookery. So I think this is also the most common question that we keep getting asked in our comments. So with your qualification, you get points for the highest education qualification that you have got. So if you are somebody who's done a diploma and also has done a bachelor's, you can claim points for your bachelor's as long as your bachelor's is from a recognized institution. So even though your nominated occupation, say in this case, is a chef, but the fact that you have done a bachelor's in the past, and if it is of recognized standard, you can claim 15 points in your EOI. So these were all the questions that I shortlisted for this video today. So if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment below and I will try to make another video in some time where I can actually cover the most common questions that I get from the viewers. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to make another video in the future to answer some of the most common questions. To stay updated about Australia's immigration, make sure that you subscribe to our channel.